rest of the wide receiver group is underwhelming. Kincaid's had some moments. They need a playmaker in the worst way this offseason. I know they keep trying to get it done or pick these guys off. Maybe Keon Coleman will be that guy. Maybe Josh Palmer will be that guy. It's not working. They haven't replaced Stephon Diggs, and it shows. And I think Josh Allen could use some help. So Buffalo Bills in the offseason, free agency, NFL draft, get yourself a big playmaker.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Notre Dame playing very well, in a position to crack the top 12. Now they have to take care of business.
Here's what I want from and again, we're going to go over who we think is actually going to make the playoffs here a little bit later in the show. But understand this, Joe. I don't want any ACC in there. I don't want any Big 12 in there. Just give me the Big 10 and the SEC. And Mike, quite frankly, if you just gave me Ohio State, Indiana, and the rest of the SEC, boom. Boom.
Nah.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Let me ask you this. If they brought in Belichick, you don't think that... Yeah.
Oh, of North Carolina?
Yeah, they're playing much better now.
I wouldn't let him coach my kids. I don't even have any.
I tell you what, they would be more disciplined than what they are now offensively.
They'd be lifeless.
Yes, they would.
They'd be lifeless.
Yes, Brian Daboll is a gutless head coach.
Bill Belichick came off a bye against
gutless
Clemson.
Head coach.
3 plays in, they gave him 150 yards.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
But here we go. This is like, Pet Sematary. You guys don't remember this movie from the 1980s. But look, goodbye Tom Brady, I guess, wants to keep the generation alive. Couldn't he just have had this dog breed and just take the puppy of some kind? I don't know. But hey, Tom Brady does different things. Maybe this is just a signal for cloning in the future for humans. I'm not really sure here.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome to another edition of the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone A. Johnson here, as always. We have a great show for you today. Thought we were opening up with last night Packer-Eagle game. We'll get to it in a second. We'll get to the Giants situation, firing Brian Daboll right after the show yesterday. But the lead is a breaking and significant and huge and crazy story in the NBA, as something that a lot of people thought should have happened a year ago has now finally happened. It was like the other shoe had to drop at some point. Yeah. Well, that shoe, that big-ass Timberland, has dropped right on Nico Harrison's face. Nico Harrison, the general manager, I should say now, former general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, is walking into a room right now, Joe Pesci Goodfellas style, and he's getting whacked by NBA insiders breaking the story about 25 minutes ago. Nico Harrison, who a lot of you still think incorrectly, the author of the Luka Doncic trade to the LA Lakers, is out as general manager of the Dallas Mavericks. Now, they did get Cooper Flagg, obviously, first overall pick in the draft. He has been a disappointment based on what the expectation was for him to come in and just dominate the NBA. Cooper Flagg right now is averaging 15 points a game and 6 rebounds, which is okay for a rookie for sure, especially an 18-year-old rookie, but not anywhere near what the expectation was, him being a dominant player, and he's got plenty of time to grow. But here's what's funny about it. There's been this storyline that I've mocked and laughed at since they pulled off the Luka Doncic trade, how Nico Harrison suddenly went from a very competent, well-thought-of general manager overseeing the Dallas Mavericks run to a couple of Western Conference finals and one NBA final, of course, which they lost, but they got there, right?
Yeah.
And he was regarded as kind of the architect of those teams, rightfully so. He's not the guy that traded Luka Doncic. He's not the guy that is responsible for the current mess that we have in Dallas. He's the fall guy. He's the guy that we prop up to blame because the real author of that trade doesn't want to take the responsibility for signing off and suggesting that they trade Luka Doncic. So let me walk you through this very quickly because the misinformation is astounding to me. Yes, Nico Harrison was the general manager. Yes, Nico Harrison, as general manager, had to take blame or credit, depending on how you wanted to view that trade at the time it happened. We all say blame because you traded one of the generationally great scorers in the history of basketball for a guy that's never on the court or healthy in Anthony Davis, obviously. But that's neither here nor there. The guy that orchestrated the trade is a guy named Patrick Dumont. All right, who is Patrick Dumont? Patrick Dumont was a mechanical engineer, very smart guy, went to Ivy League schools, worked for Bear Stearns, was an investment guru type of guy, and then he magically fell in love one day. Who did he fall in love with? He fell in love with a game named Siobhan, who happened to be the daughter of one of the wealthiest casino magnates in the country, the Adelson family. All right? So Patrick Dumont marries in to the Adelson family. They own the Sands Casino and Hotel. There's one in Atlantic City. There's the big one, obviously, in Las Vegas. They're worth about $30+ billion, okay? Old man Adelson passes away. His wife, Miriam Adelson, is now the czar of the Adelson fortune. Well, she's looking at the bottom line of how to make more money as a casino magnate. I'm just walking you through the history of this, okay? And she recognizes that Texas one day is going to approve casinos. Currently, there are no casinos in the state of Texas. She wants to make sure that she's got her foot in the door so that when Texas and Governor Abbott or a future governor finally approves brick and mortar casinos in the state of Texas, she wants in. Well, how do you get in? I need a building. I need an arena. I need land. So she makes an offer for and buys the Dallas Mavericks for a few $1 billion, okay? She appoints her son-in-law, Patrick Dumont, as the governor of the Dallas Mavericks, overseeing all basketball operations. Now, Tyrone, does he have a basketball background?
No, of course not.
Has he ever worked in the NBA?
No, he hasn't.
Did he work for the Dallas Mavericks?
He did not.
Was he a G League guy?
No.
Was he a high school basketball coach?
No.
Did he coach in the AAU?
He did not.
Was he a college basketball coach?
No.
Did he have any experience at all running a basketball team?
None whatsoever.
But he did have experience in finance. And Luka Doncic was up for a 5-year, $345 million extension. That was the max extension, which would have worked out to be 10% of the entire value of the Dallas Maverick franchise when the Adelsons bought it, okay? Mm-hmm. And he told everyone that wanted to listen that Luka Doncic is lazy. He's got no work ethic. The reason he has all these little nagging injuries is because he's overweight and out of shape, and I'm not paying a guy $345 million if that guy has no professional pride and gets his ass in shape and plays. We can argue that day and night. Mm-hmm. That's the history of this. So he goes to Nico Harrison and says, I'm not giving him the extension, so it's a small window where we can trade him and in theory get some level of value back. And the best they do is the trade they made. Nico Harrison has to be the front man. Nico Harrison has to take all the slings and arrows based on the decision that the owner made. That was not Nico Harrison's decision, and he's taking responsibility for it because he's a good soldier. It has now cost him his job. And let's look, if we can, at the Dallas Mavericks, okay? The Dallas Mavericks right now have the 3rd worst record in the entire NBA and the 2nd worst record in the Western Conference. How many games has Anthony Davis played?
Well, not many.
5.
Yeah, not many.
How many games has Lively played?
Not
2.
many. Yeah.
How many games has Gafford played?
He couldn't have
6.
been many. Yeah.
So we're talking, that's the core, and of course, Kyrie Irving is out to maybe the spring. Maybe he doesn't play at all
the whole year
because of the knee injury, right? Mm-hmm. So the Dallas Mavericks are playing shorthanded at best.
Yep.
3 for sure of their best players are not playing basketball. You cannot win games in the NBA if 3 or 5 best players are never on the court. When the Dallas Mavericks get healthy, I should say if and when the Dallas Mavericks get healthy, they're a damn good basketball team, and they're going to win a lot of games, and they're going to scare the bejesus out of everybody. But when you start off 3-8, when your first-round draft pick is not yet living up to expectation, which we should have expected, he's only 18 years old, and he's going to be a very good basketball player, when ticket sales are down, when sponsorship revenue is down, and you're the guy that created the mess, but you own the team, do you take responsibility or do you find a fall guy? It's common nature. This is human nature. This is survival of the fittest. We're 3-8. Nobody's coming to our games. We can't sell sponsorships. I screwed up because while I traded a lazy, fat, overweight, always hurt Luka Doncic, I happened to keep an eyeball on what Luka and the Lakers have done without LeBron James this year. And there's no arguing the fact that Luka Doncic, and he has missed a couple games this year as well with the finger injury, and he had something with his leg, I forget what it was. Luka Doncic is playing his ass off.
Playing tremendous.
He's playing the highest level of basketball he has played, and he's played great basketball throughout his now amazing career, right?
Yeah.
So you're failing. Half your team is hurt. Nobody wants to see your product. And the guy you traded away, who is the face of the organization, the heart and soul of the organization, is killing it for the LA Lakers, who have the second best record in the conference. Well, I better fire somebody. I better blame somebody. So I found myself a fall guy. And I took out my Brute sword and I shoved it in his back and I pulled it out with blood oozing off of it. And I made everybody remind themselves that that's the problem. I merely went along with my basketball guy. What a clown. What an absolute scapegoat that Patrick Dumont has found in Nico Harrison, who deserves better.
No way.
Deserves a lot better.
Absolutely not.
That's what happened. Those are the facts. You can blame Nico all you want. Nico's the wrong guy. Nico's a patsy. Nico didn't shoot Kennedy with a single bullet. Nico's being made the fall guy, and it ain't right.
We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
No, but the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You want to throw $12, $13 million at Kiffin? That's always a possibility. Summerall, they lost the other night to, in that matchup to UTSA. Or do you go back to potentially the mad scientist and Nick Saban, give him, complete control of the athletic department and see if he can turn it around? We'll see. But whatever they go, they're going to need a coach to hit the ground running.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
His daughter, she's on the OF.
Okay.
She's on the OF.
Oh, is
now.
that right?
Yeah, she's on the OF.
So he's got
now.
an OnlyFans daughter and a little son
who says he can beat Curry and LeBron.
And he's coaching a team that was down 72-0.
Keep that dude away from polite society.
Okay, brother, I'm with you. I don't know any of that is.
Numerous pops gotta go.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Little podcast note for you. We did a exclusive sit-down with my main gal right there. You see Jillian Michaels, health and wellness powerhouse, sat down with us, and it's a podcast exclusive talking about how she got the Biggest Loser job, her baseball fandom with her wife and her kids battling in the house between the Yankees and Dodgers. Does she eat pizza? She does. And should I eat my chicken? She doesn't think I should. Well, listen to all of it. It was a great time, and she's now a friend for life. That's Jillian Michaels, a podcast exclusive, so go wherever you get your podcast and download the Craig Carton Show. Make sure you listen in. It was a lot of fun meeting her, and she exceeded all expectations I had. Very nice gal, and it was cool to meet her and have her on the podcast. I don't want to do the whole show on Nico Harrison. Although we're huge in Dallas, they tell me. If you are just tuning in, Nico Harrison is being Joe Pesci'd right now in a meeting with the Adelson family, that they are the owners of the Dallas Mavericks. They bought the team, as you know, from Mark Cuban. A guy named Patrick Dumont, who's the Adelson son-in-law, is the governor and the czar of all things Mavericks basketball. He's had a hard-on for Luka Doncic from day one. That's no secret. Everybody knows that. Talked about Luka being out of shape and nagging injuries and not being respectful of the money he earns and being the face of the franchise. But it really came down to money. It came down to the fact that the Adelson family did not want to give Luka Doncic a 5-year, $345 million extension, and that's what he was up for. So they told Nico Harrison, do what you got to do, get rid of Luka, and we'll move forward without him.
And that's the problem. And that's why, if everything you said is true, fine.
Yep.
Nico's ass had to go mandatorily because he made a bad trade. He could have called 29 teams, opened it up, and there would have absolutely been a bidding war. He, and only he, who also did not like Luka, who told all the Nike people who he worked with for years that he did not like Luka as well, and he called one team and made a bad deal. His job was to make a trade, not to make a bad trade.
Okay.
And when you make a trade that bad,
that.
you got to get fired. He had to go. In fact, this firing is late. He should have been fired last year.
I mean, look, Luka Doncic and the
Horrendous
Lakers did absolutely nothing last year, so it wasn't like the Lakers had some great run.
But you can't make trades like that, though.
I'll
You
tell you
base
this.
trades on logic.
Luka's been great thus far this year. I said that. I'm with you on that. And the one thing I will agree with you on, if you do have orders from the owner to trade a player, and I'm telling you that's not up for debate, that's what happened.
Fine.
I'm with you on that one aspect of it. Then it's your job to reach out to every other team, because if every other team was aware that Luka Doncic at 25 years old, one of the great scorers already in the history of basketball, was now available, you did have a duty to the Mavericks franchise to shop him, to find out what other teams were willing to offer. Now, I get the other part of it, too, and that is you didn't want people to know you were doing it. You didn't want Luka to find out you were doing it. You certainly didn't want Mavericks fans to find out. And once a second, third, fourth, fifth, 20th team is now aware that Luka's being shopped, that becomes a story because everybody's got loose lips, and then you're in trouble. Then it's almost impossible to trade him, and your fan base turns on you, which they did anyway. I will agree with you that by default, there had to be a better offer on the table. They had to insist, for example, why not get Austin Reeves in that trade? You think the Lakers were really going to say, well, we want Luka Doncic, but we're not willing to give you AD and Austin Reeves?
It's a no-brainer.
Of course they would have said yes.
Where were the first-round picks?
So,
get a third team involved and get multiple first-round picks.
I'm with you on that.
Nico made a bad trade. Therefore, right or wrong, Nico had to go.
Again, I'm not
made a bad deal.
I'm not going to argue with you on that. Look, history will ultimately prove did the Lakers benefit from it or not, and we'll find out if the Mavericks are ever healthy, what they can do. I cannot argue that. I'm not going to push back on that at all. The only caveat I will tell you, and as a basketball aficionado and the guy that you agree knows more hoops than anyone with a microphone in front of their face.
I've never said that.
You told me that before the show.
I've never said that.
So I'm going with it. The only guy that knows more hoops is Basketball Jones, but he's working at Major League Baseball right now, so I can't call him and interrupt his day with a basketball question, okay? Here's the deal. When Anthony Davis, when Lively, when Gafford, when Kyrie finally get on a court together with the kid, Cooper Flagg, you cannot tell me that's not a good basketball team.
I absolutely can for this reason. When you make a trade like that, here's why. Yes, it's a fine team with a short window. With Luka, your championship window is large. No,
we're talking about window. I said very clearly that team went healthy. That is a top 3 team in the West.
A top 3 team in the West. What does that get you? You
that gets you to the Western Conference Finals.
No, not top 3, does it?
Yeah, it does.
Second gets you there. Top 3 3 doesn't do a damn thing for you.
Gets you. You're
this
right
was
in.
Horrendous trade, and your window got smaller. So you can't say, oh, what do the Lakers do now? Because the Luka window's really big.
Well, we're
because
gonna find
he's
out,
young.
though, aren't we?
It's a long window, though.
Right now, the Lakers
window
look like they're pretty good.
Your Kyrie AD window, very small. You couldn't climb through that window. Okay, you'd have to find somebody about 6 years old to climb through that window. It's small as hell.
I've been stretching.
You can't fit through that
I've been
window.
stretching.
The Lakers window, everybody can stretch out and get into, and that's why.
Anyhow, so the Nico Harrison era is over, but do not lose sight of the why part of this. It's really a fascinating story. They basically, he's their Lee Harvey Oswald, man. They threw that dude under the bus. They backed the bus up. They went forward. They backed it up again. And all they kept saying was, did you just hear something? Did we go over something? We drive. Did we go backwards? Let me see if we drove over something. Go forward. That body's battered and bruised. I just hope that Nico Harrison has a decent out clause like a college football coach.
Yeah, get some money.
That's all.
You could go back to Nike.
While we're on the NBA, I got 1 minute left anyway. We'll get to last night's football game right after this for sure. And the Giants situation, keeping the GM and getting rid of the head coach from Brian Daboll. LeBron James, big announcement. LeBron James. I know this is going to piss my main man Jamie Foxx off because Jamie comments on everything I say about LeBron. I invited him to have drinks with me in L.A. this weekend, where I'm going to be. Hasn't responded just yet. LeBron James really does love his son. I give him that. He really does. It was announced late yesterday that LeBron James is going to play a couple G League games.
Well, get back.
That's the only shot he's got of playing with his son. So
that's cold.
I respect it as a dad. I do respect that. He's going to the G League so that he and Bronny can actually play basketball together. I cannot wait to see how he makes the South Bay Lakers worse than they are right now. But LeBron's coming back. That means by December 1, he'll be back in a Laker jersey. NFL football coming up right after this. Come on, everybody.
Fly, Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
His daughter, she's on the OF.
Okay.
She's on the OF.
Is that right?
Yeah, she's on the OF.
So he's got
now.
an OnlyFans daughter and a little son
who says he can beat Curry and LeBron.
And he's coaching a team that was down 72 to
Keep
nothing.
that dude away from polite society.
Okay, by the way, I'm with you. I didn't know any of that is.
Numerous pops gotta go.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
I can just cash out and say, see you later, bye-bye, and sell that contract. So there is a big difference. I've already said I will never, ever, ever again make a future bet with a sports book where the money gets tied up and I have to wait till the outcome of the event. Don't have to do that. All future bets for me are going to Kalshi.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyron Johnson here as well. Anything beyond what we've already talked about comes out today regarding Nico Harrison. We'll obviously bring it to you. We'll do a whole thing coming up in a few minutes on the Giants situation and who the next head coach of the Giants should be. We've got some thoughts on that. But last night's football game, again, not a great game. And it wasn't like the defenses were like the 85 Bears. They obviously dominated both the Packers offense, which looked terrible, and the Eagles offense, which until that deep pass to Devontae Smith also just didn't look right.
Yeah.
Which is very confusing to me. That being said, and I apologize to my main man, Lil Wayne, who I know is a diehard Packer fan, still thinks that they can win a Super Bowl this year. Not happening, L-Dub. Not happening, kid. And look, just think about the Packers' 3 losses. The Green Bay Packers lost to the Cleveland Browns 13-10. All right?
Yep.
The Green Bay Packers lost to the Carolina Panthers 16-13. And then last night, after the indignity of losing at home to the Carolina Panthers, and you have the Eagles off a bye week in your building, and you're looking to stay on top of the division because the Lions are here to stay now, right?
Yep.
And what did they do? They scored 7 points and lost 10-7. So their defense is not the problem. All right. Now, they do have a get-right game. You can see it on the schedule right there. And I do think they'll get back in the win column. But there's something wrong. There's something wrong with the Green Bay Packer offense. And Matt LaFleur hasn't changed. He's a great coordinator and offensive mind. And I'm starting to look at Jordan Love a lot differently now.
You have to.
And I know they have young wide receivers. I know they've got a little bit of the injury bug there as well. But Josh Jacobs is legit.
Very good.
All right. Great running back. Love his game. And I'm looking around going, when's Jordan Love going to throw the ball down the field? Right?
Right.
And I know the Eagles' defense is very good. I know the Browns' defense is excellent. So I excuse it to a point. But, man, you can't lose to the Browns and the Panthers and then come back home and put 7 points on the board when the New York Giants scored 40 against the Eagles earlier this year. Like, you just can't do that.
You can't do that.
So are the Packers good enough to make the playoffs? Yeah, I think so. But right now they're in 3rd place. Right now they're not a playoff team. They're not playing like a playoff team. And only because J.J. McCarthy sucks and the Vikings are going the wrong way are they not in last place in that division. But I watched that game last night and I said to myself, ew. Like I was a 3rd grader. Ew. Billy's disgusting. Ew. The Eagles didn't look like world beaters either.
No.
And I'm convinced now that the Philadelphia Eagles need to replace their offensive coordinator. I would fire Kevin Patullo. And I know he's a Sirianni guy. He's been with him for a very long time, and he's not going to fire him. He's not going to embarrass him and take away play calling like Dan Campbell just did in Detroit. But I think he should, because I still got Saquon Barkley, and I know Lane Johnson got hurt yesterday, but I still have a really good offensive line.
Yep.
I still got a really good tight end in Dallas Goedert. I still have a really good wide receiving core in Devontae Smith and obviously A.J. Brown, who wasn't targeted at all last night.
Yeah, two
he's a
catches
non-factor.
yesterday, yeah.
And those are both in the first half.
Yeah.
So in a game you're trailing 3-0 for a while, right? In that game, you don't even look at A.J. Brown.
No, they led the whole way, but...
I'm sorry, they were up the right.
Yeah, but the other thing is, though, that wouldn't make a difference. Sirianni has a weakness. When Sirianni has an experienced offensive coordinator, he lets him do his job. When he has a young guy like he has now, he meddles. You know why their offense is bad?
You think he's meddling?
It's because of Nick Sirianni. So firing the OC wouldn't solve it. He'd have to fire himself. Well, he's the problem right now.
I got a solution for the Philadelphia Eagles right now because their offense is a problem. They've got all the tools to be great. And everyone knows I'm the biggest supporter of Jalen Hurts in America, and I dislike Philadelphia. That's my guy, top 5 quarterback. When you let that dude rock, he rocks. When you let him throw the ball down the field, he's good at it. 1 overthrow yesterday down the middle of the field in the first half. All right, he's got to eat that one. I've got a solution for the Philadelphia Eagles, and you're not going to like it.
What's that?
But I think we all agree as Eagle fans, we need better play calling. We need better play calling. Kevin Patullo is not getting the job done. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles today, not tomorrow, I don't wait till tomorrow. I do it today. I have a solution for the Eagles offense because it's broken right now. And the Eagles have all the talent in the world to go to another Super Bowl and win another Super Bowl. There's no other team that is in a better spot than they are. But they've got to make one change. I would demote Kevin Patullo. If you don't want to fire him, I respect that. You're friends. I don't want to fire people willy-nilly. The Philadelphia Eagles today should hire Brian Daboll. They should hire Brian Daboll, make him their offensive coordinator, and that offense will start scoring 30 points a game again. Let that sink in. The solution is unemployed. He's packing his bags right now in New Jersey, and you reunite him with Saquon Barkley. That's what you do. That's the answer, Eagle fans.
No.
That's a winning recipe. Trust me on that. Trust me.
Notre Dame playing very well, in a position to crack the top 12. Now they have to take care of business.
Here's what I want from and again, we're going to go over who we think is actually going to make the playoffs here a little bit later in the show. But understand this, Joe. I don't want any ACC in there. I don't want any Big 12 in there. Just give me the Big 10 and the SEC. And Mike, quite frankly, if you just gave me Ohio State, Indiana, and the rest of the SEC, boom, boom.
Nah.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
It is a sickness in this league. They stink, and they should stink next year. That's it.
But the expectation is to be a 9-8 football team.
So let's shake it. Why is that the expectation? They're garbage. And traded away two of the few good guys they have.
But they're going to get how many draft picks in the first round? 3 next year?
Two.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Brissett has been that good. So this is a quarterback that I think is worth acquiring, especially in Superflex leagues. If somebody's already got QBs passed to buy and Brissett's just collecting dust on somebody's bench, go out there, get him, because I think the next 4 weeks, some of the matchups too, he gets Jacksonville, he gets San Francisco, he gets Tampa. Those are going to be some higher scoring games potentially. Good news for fantasy managers who are trying to get Jacoby Brissett.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Today's prop was 15, right? And he's at 44. If you altered him to 20 or 25 plus, those are some big numbers. Like 15 and a half, like Jack Besh this morning was 11 and a half, and his number got bet up to 15 and a half. Tyler Lockett was 16 and a half and bet down to 15 and a half. If you just took a shot, like 15 to 25 is nothing. And next week, his number's not going to be 15.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Thanks for joining us. A pleasant day here in New York City, 32 degrees. I'm bald. That's why I'm wearing the hat.
Yeah.
Tyrone Johnson's here as well. So, all right, so the Eagles, look, I don't care how you win. A win's a win. You move on to the next game. Give Philly credit. They've got a 19-game lead in the NFC East. I think the magic number is like 4.
I think it's
right now.
I think it's
is
5.
It 5?
I think it's 5.
So any combination of Eagles wins and Washington, Dallas, New York losses that add up to 5, and they're going to clinch the division at Thanksgiving. No joke.
Yeah, no, literally.
That's on the table.
Black Friday.
But the Giants did something that we all saw coming after they again had a fourth quarter collapse against the Chicago Bears. This time, John Mara didn't wait to the end of the season and said, "Peace out, you're gone." Brian Daboll's been fired. 1 playoff win in the 4 years he was there. But what I found amazing, and I mentioned this on my walk and talk yesterday, is the fact that they not only kept Joe Schoen, the embattled general manager, who has done a terrible job, in my opinion, as general manager, but they've empowered him. They've given him autonomy now. Now, sadly, John Mara, who does run the franchise, is dealing with cancer. And obviously that takes away a good deal of your focus from football. You're trying to survive. And I totally respect that. If he were healthy and not dealing with this cancer scare, my gut is that Joe Schoen would have been fired as well. So you give him grace in that regard because he's got some personal stuff going on, which legitimately is life and death.
Yeah.
So I want to be respectful of that. But when you look at the two guys, right? Joe Schoen picks the players. Brian Daboll coaches the players. There was one particular player, though, where that didn't happen that way. And that player is now the savior of the franchise, Jackson Dart. We have all seen the video of Brian Daboll begging the Giants and Joe Schoen to draft Jackson Dart. And Joe Schoen's dismissive of it. And Joe Schoen says, if you get a third-round pick right, no one's going to care about it or remember it. But if you're a man of your conviction, you sound like you are, and you want him, I want to be clear to everybody in this room, it's his pick, right? We all saw the video. I'm paraphrasing it a bit there.
Yeah.
Joe Schoen picked Jackson Dart but told everybody it's not my pick, it's Daboll's pick. Well, guess what? In the 4 years that these guys have been here, the one pick that we can agree they got right was the Jackson Dart pick. I know you're going to say Malik Neighbors. I agree with you. He's hurt. Great. We don't know what he's going to come back and be like because his game's predicated on speed and he tore his ACL, right? I assume he'll be fine, but we just don't know. So the one pick that we know worked, the future of the franchise, the heir apparent to Phil Simms' fortune is Jackson Dart. And we know that was not Joe Schoen's pick. We know that Joe Schoen is also the guy that quite famously on Hard Knocks said, I'm not paying a quarterback $20 million to hand the ball off to a $12 million running back. Hey, Saquon, we're going to give you your outright release and let you go wherever you want and get nothing in return. And what does Saquon do? He goes 90 miles down the turnpike, signs with Philadelphia, has 2,000-yard season, wins the Super Bowl, and gets an extension.
Because he was that great. Yeah, to reward him.
So Joe Schoen screwed the pooch on Saquon Barkley.
Absolutely.
Got nothing in return. Joe Schoen did not want the now savior of the franchise. That was a Brian Daboll hire. Joe Schoen wasted picks on Kayvon Thibodeau and Hyatt, who's an average wide receiver at best, and Evan Neal, who's a disgrace at the offensive line and a donut for the New York Giants. And I could go on and on and on and on and on. I give him credit for the Brian Burns deal. I give him credit for that.
He's been very good.
He's a great defensive player. So that's the one little mark in the pro column. But all the other stuff is negative. And what I learned, and I learned the valuable lesson years ago that came back yesterday when I saw that the Giants had, fired Brian Daboll, which frankly we all saw coming.
Yeah.
And there's no defense to Brian Daboll that he should have kept his job. He didn't earn it.
No.
He didn't deserve it. He's going to get paid millions of dollars now by the New York Giants for the rest of his contract. There's no argument to be made that the Giants didn't do the right thing. They need a new head coach. We'll get to that in a second. The part of this thing, though, that bothers me to my core, and I want to be clear, I like Joe Schoen. I've met him. I've talked to him. He's a decent human being. He's a lousy general manager. And you have to differentiate between the two when I say this. He shivved Brian Daboll in the back. You might remember last week when we had the pretty girl from Long Island on who had the breaking news that they were going to fire Brian Daboll.
Yeah, Nikki Gist.
Nikki Gist, yeah. Nikki said on the show, and I give her credit for this, when I said, who gets fired, she goes, split ticket. Her words, not mine. I give her credit for it.
Yep, she
said, I think Daboll's gone, he is, and I think Shane survived.
Yep.
Split ticket. Well, the only way that happens is if the guys are working against each other behind closed doors and behind each other's backs. It's a tale as old as time, right? Mm-hmm. It's about self-preservation. Well, Joe Schoen won the battle of self-preservation in part because the owner is sick, my belief, and in part because he poisoned the well. And if you go into his closet, there's a shiv with blood on it. And that blood comes from the back of Brian Daboll. Joe Schoen played a game of chess, not checkers here, and he won. And he, over the course of time, poisoned the well about Brian Daboll, was probably complaining about the fourth quarter collapses. And I'm sure along the way, he said to the Mara and Tisch family, when they got together to talk about the state of the Giants, I've given him enough players to win with. I'm not responsible for a 33-point fourth quarter collapse. The coaches. Mm-hmm. I'm not responsible for a double-digit point collapse against the Chicago Bears. The coaches. And when you start that type of rhetoric, it hangs on, it sticks, because he's not wrong. If you believe the Giants should have won, the Cowboy game, yeah, they probably should have. If you believe the Giants have enough talent to have beaten the Denver Broncos, the team with the best record in the AFC, they should have. If you believe the New York Giants should have held on, even with Jackson Dart getting hurt against the Chicago Bears, you're right. And then I can further that by saying the coach is also the guy that called the running play for Jackson Dart, and that's the play that he got the concussion on. Well, I'm the general manager. I can't tell the coach how to coach.
Right.
But I've given him enough talent where, what are they now? They're 2-8?
Yeah.
I've given him enough talent and based on how games have ended in the fourth quarter with major collapses, it's fair for me to say we should be a 500 football team.
Yes.
And in the conversation for the wild card.
The Saints lost as well. Saints are a miserable team. They should have won that football game.
And let me walk you through that. Is the general manager responsible for 5 consecutive turnovers on 5 consecutive downs? No. The coaches, the players are, right? Yeah. So now you have to move forward and say, all right, the New York Giants, again, are in the market for a head coach. And here's what's fascinating to me about this. The obvious guy for the job, and there's no debating that this is the first name that would have popped up and should have popped up, has done such a dumb and terrible job in his own personal life over the last year and a half that he's not even a mention for the job. This is Bill Belichick's job. He's been an advisor to the Giants for 20 years. He's Giants royalty because of his time with Bill Parcells. The Giants talk to him on a weekly basis. But he has done such a bad job both at North Carolina and in his personal life with that Fugazi girlfriend of his, Jennifer Hudson, whatever her name is, Hudson? Whatever, I don't know what her name is.
Jordan
Hudson,
Jennifer
whatever
does
her
the
name
talk
is,
show,
right?
yeah.
That you don't even hear Bill Belichick's name mentioned as a possibility.
No way.
If Bill Belichick had just stayed at ESPN, done a great job breaking down film, we wouldn't have cared about his personal life. If he had just stayed on the sideline and waited, he would be the next head coach of the New York Giants. And guess what? Giant fans would have had a parade for him. They would have blessed John Mara and Steve Tisch and said, you finally got it right. The prodigal son is coming home. But because he's banging a girl in her 20s, and because North Carolina has been an outright disaster, the New York Giants won't touch Bill Belichick with a 10-foot pole. So now what do? Same old NFL reruns? Or do we go to the college ranks and get creative? But the job was right there. All he had to do was keep his penis in his pants and do some film breakdown, and he'd be the next head coach of the New York Giants. Now it's wide open.
Fly, Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
His daughter, she's on the OF.
Okay.
She's on the OF now.
Is that right?
Yeah, she's on the OF now.
So he's got an OnlyFans daughter and a little son
who says he can beat Curry and LeBron.
And he's coaching a team that was down 72 to
Keep
nothing.
that dude away from polite society.
Okay, by the way, I'm with you. I didn't know any of that is.
Newman's pops gotta go.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
I can just cash out and say, see you later, bye-bye, and sell that contract. So there is a big difference. I've already said I will never, ever, ever again make a future bet with a sports book where the money gets tied up and I have to wait till the outcome of the event. Don't have to do that. All future bets for me are going to Kalshi.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And the major thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Some news and notes. Let me go back to last night's Packer-Eagle game. It's going to be lost in the shuffle because the Eagles won, but a brain-dead decision by Nick Sirianni. 4th and 6, 33 seconds left. You have a couple choices there. You can punt, and then Green Bay gets the ball back, no timeouts, on their own 20-yard line.
And that's worst case because you may pit them deeper.
Yep, that's worst case scenario. Number 2, you can kick about, a 50-yard field goal. Give or take a couple yards.
In weather.
Okay, in Green Bay, not the best idea. Elliott's not had a great year kicking, but he's obviously been a money kicker for them. If you miss that kick, then obviously you're giving Green Bay great field position to go like 10 yards and tie the game. Or you go for it and put your foot on their throats and end the game by gaining 6 yards on 4th and 6. Now, to me, and I'm watching it live last night, as much as I hate the decision that I would have made, you got to punt.
I would have punted.
You can't kick because if you do miss the kick, obviously they're in great position to tie the game. And if you do make the kick, well, they could still come down in theory, get a touchdown and beat you. Unlikely, but it's on the table. It'd be like 25 seconds left. But when you go for it on 4th and 6, and your offense was terrible all night, and Saquon did not run great last night, combined 100 yards, but I think he ran for about 50, 60 yards combined,
he had
total
the big play
in the
on
game.
a touchdown drive.
Yes,
he had the big play.
That was a jump off pass. Right.
Catching it,
So to me, you punt. You punt. Green Bay gets the ball 25 seconds on their own 20, no timeouts. That game's a wrap at that point. They got cocky, went for it on 4th and 6, and now the situation was they only needed 15 or so yards, and they got a kickoff. It was short at 64 yards, unlikely to make it in those conditions, but you gave them a chance to tie the game. And no one's talking about it because the Eagles won. I'd like to think Nick Sirianni today goes, if I could do it again, I'd punt.
Just punt.
But his ego's too big to say that.
Yeah, you're right.
And you're an Eagle fan, so I assume you agree with me.
I completely agree. You punt there, and that's Sirianni's a very, very good coach. He's won a lot of games. His win percentage speaks for himself. Certain moments, it's too much about being macho and not about doing the prudent thing.
Yeah, and obviously if they get 7 yards and get the first down, everyone shuts up. But you got to make the decision. You have to have an opinion before the play happens.
Right.
And before the play happens, I'm yelling at the TV, you got to punt.
Just punt.
And I don't even want the Eagles to win. You got to punt, though. That's smart football. That's number one. Number 2, I didn't know that they were still doing it, so shame on me. Excuse me, but ESPN 2, I guess, well, I don't know if it's ESPN 1 or 4. I don't know which one it is. They still do the Manning cast during the Monday night games?
Yep.
All right, great. So they had the head of ESPN, the head of Disney and all that, Bob Iger, who I read his book, great book, and seems like a really good dude. I don't know. I never worked for him. I can't speak to that. But they've got Bob Iger on. And in my head, I'm like, well, the only reason I have Bob Iger on is because we're in the middle of this YouTube ESPN debate, which for a lot of people, 10 million people, my son included out in Iowa, couldn't watch last night's game because they're in this dispute. So I'm thinking, this is great news making. You've got the head honcho of Disney on the TV. I'm assuming the very first question is, Mr. Iger, or Bob, I suppose, when are we going to have a resolution to the issue between you guys and YouTube? Like, you have to ask that question.
You must.
You could start off with a joke or two, I suppose. You can maybe say, hey, did you ever play football? Hey, whatever. You can have all the ass kissing you want. But at some point, you have to say to him, hey, real quick, before we let you go, can you give us an update on the YouTube ESPN status?
Of course.
They never asked, meaning they were ordered to never ask, or they don't have the stones to ask the question. It's one or the other. But we all got let down because there are 10 million Americans who watch ESPN through YouTube, who sat at home last night not watching Monday Night Football because you've stolen it from them. And then when you have the ultimate decision maker on the show, I'm sorry. You have to ask him that question. And whatever he says to you, if you don't want to follow up, I suppose I understand that, but come on, guys.
And what's so bad about this is usually in the games, even if it's on cable, locally in the Green Bay area and the Philadelphia area, you would get it on ABC normally.
Yes.
But they didn't have ABC, so they couldn't get it locally.
Yeah, it just, you have to ask the question, like, nobody wants to hear from Bob Iger. during the Monday night game when 10 million people are blacked out from watching the game and you not ask him about when the blackout's going to end? That's just a terrible, terrible job, whether it's the Mannings who did it or their producer told him don't ask the question, or Iger himself who said, I'm coming on, but don't ask me about it. It's a bad job all the way across.
Why else would you have him on?
Right.
I understand what he does behind the scenes. I don't need to ever hear from Bob Iger publicly.
And I like him. His book was awesome.
Right. What I'm saying is, does the average person necessarily care about what Bob Iger thinks outside of that issue?
Now, look, one of our producers used to work for ESPN. Actually, both of them did, right? Do you think a single show on ESPN is critical of their decision not to ask the question?
Absolutely not.
Not a one.
Absolutely not.
There ain't going to be maybe McAfee?
Maybe.
Probably not.
Right. It's ridiculous.
I could not believe that they did not ask that question. I couldn't believe it. If you're looking for a job, the Atlanta Braves are looking for a new mascot sprinter. He goes by the name of Freeze. He's the guy that, in like the 7th inning stretch, you give people like a 50-yard head start.
Oh, yeah, he runs them down. He's so fast.
He retired.
What?
Yeah, he retired. He's out. So if you run real fast, call the Atlanta Braves up. They're looking for a new mascot. NBA real quick. Cade Cunningham is now officially in the NBA record books. Last night, Cade Cunningham, Detroit Pistons star, and he's a great player, he missed 31 shots last night.
It's unbelievable.
That is a new record.
That's unbelievable.
31 missed free throws in a single game of basketball.
Well, 3 shots. Here's the crazy part. He also had a triple-double. And they won. It's the strangest game. 31 misses, 40-some points, a triple-double, and a win, but you missed 31 shots. That will never happen again. That won't be
I think Kobe missed 30.
30.
And I think MJ missed 27.
Right, in a loss.
I think that was the most misses they had.
Right. And they were young guys in a loss.
Yeah.
They won the game somehow with the guy missing 31 shots.
Yeah.
And they won in overtime.
Quick gambling thing. Do I have time? How much time? 30 seconds?
30.
Great. Major League Baseball and the legal books did a great thing yesterday. They are now capping prop wagers that bettors can make on a single pitch. So the over-under on how fast the pitch is, or if it's a ball or a strike, because it's the only wager where it only involves a single player. Yeah. And they've capped that at $200 in response to this gambling scandal that came out with Class A and Diaz a couple days ago. So I give MLB a lot of credit and the books a lot of credit. They are trying to re-earn your trust. That's a good job all around.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling, competitive series between two teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada, Toronto, and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games, and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run, hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on it. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Don't forget to check out the exclusive sit-down with Jillian Michaels on the Craig Carton Show podcast. It's a podcast exclusive. Talking about sports, about working out, about eating chickens, about eating pizza, about raising kids that root for different teams that hate each other. But it's a lot of fun. It was great having her here yesterday. It's a podcast exclusive. Definitely go check it out and follow Jillian and all the cool things that she's doing. Let's have a little fun here, Tyrone, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a random stats of a guy.
Okay.
All right? And I want you to just tell me Hall of Famer, not Hall of Famer.
Okay.
All right? A solid, 15-year career, okay?
Okay.
8.7 points a game.
8.7, okay.
6.9 rebounds a game. 5.5 assists per game. Those are the only stats I'm giving you. So 8, 7, and 5, okay? 8 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, 5 assists per game. Just based on that, and that alone, and I'll add one caveat to you, has won championships.
Okay. Plural.
Yes.
Still.
Is that guy a Hall of Famer?
On its own,
no.
No. On its own,
no.
Yeah, without knowing more.
Okay. Downstairs, you guys want to jump in on that off mic? 8, 7, and 5.
Has he punched any teammate?
Yes, he has punched a teammate. Yes, he has. All right, so you said no.
I said
Draymond Green is not a Hall of Famer.
Well,
Thank you, Tyrone A. Johnson. I agree with
said
you.
on that alone.
And I agree with you 100%.
What about the defensive player of the year?
Put it out. Tyrone A. Johnson just said Draymond Green is not a Hall of Famer because in his career, he's averaged 8, 7, and 5, and those are not Hall of Fame numbers. Sorry, not sorry, Draymond.
What about the defense?
Decent defensive player.
Well, you didn't put in blocks, steals, Defensive Player of the Year awards. I gave both going off of those things alone.
Yeah.
He also has, 4 rings?
8. I gave you the rings. I added that.
You said multiple. I
said
thought
multiple.
2, not 4.
I didn't say how many. I just said multiple rings.
4
I want
rings.
to acknowledge he's a champion a few times over. 8, 7, and 5. We're going to put that dude in the Hall of Fame
He's in the Hall
at
of Fame.
8, 7, and 5.
Well, Rodman's a Hall of Fame in a similar kind of way, only Rodman did a lot of rebounding and defense.
He did more rebounding than anyone in the history of the game.
Right,
Yeah.
but didn't score hardly at all.
He did more rebounding than anyone in the history of the game.
And he did. He did. Draymond, to me.
I got you.
No.
Woo!
On that alone. But Draymond's a Hall of Famer.
That's a win for me. Look, he's going to get in.
He's going to get in.
He's getting in, not really just because of the championships, but he has been thought of as a great defensive player.
For a long time.
I think he's a dirty defensive player.
Perhaps. A lot of
maybe
groin
that's
kicks.
part of it. I mean,
a lot of groin kicks.
Rodman was as well.
Yeah.
I can't argue that point. And yeah, he's going to get in, but he's getting in because of his defensive prowess, not because of anything else. I didn't realize that he's under 10 rebounds a game. I would have thought for sure he was at 10. But he's not. He's single digits in everything. And I agree with you. He's getting in.
He's getting in.
But I also think that at times you got to do the blind taste test. And that's why I only gave you the stats and not the name. Because on the blind taste test, that dude is not a Hall of Famer.
Right. Although
he's not.
You don't like certain advanced stats, though. And there are advanced stats, win, score, and things like that, where he will absolutely be favorable because of the defense.
And let me stop you there. The reason, sports analytic geeks now add these extra in-depth stats is so that guys like him get in. We have stats now that no one has ever used at any level. We usually base it on the eye test, right? Sure. That guy is a Hall of Famer. That guy's really good, but not a Hall of Famer. That's how we judge things, right? And I want to be clear. Draymond Green is going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. Based on his numbers, he just doesn't deserve to be. It's a numbers game, man. All sports come down to numbers. And his numbers belie the truth that Draymond Green is not a Hall of Famer, and yet Draymond Green will be a Hall of Famer. He might even be a first ballot Hall of Famer, depending on when other guys retire and what that class looks like and how many dudes retire in the same year when they finally become eligible.
Yep.
But I knew I'd get you on that. I knew it, and I feel like I'm just having a great day today.
To help you a little bit, I looked up what the geeks think about him with the advanced stats, and here are players that they compare him to real fast.
Give me 3.
Gordon Hayward.
Not a Hall of Famer.
Christian Laettner.
Not a Hall of Famer.
Zach Randolph.
Thank you. That's exactly where he is. And if not for Steph Curry, he'd be thought of as Zach Curry. That's exactly right. Yeah. By the way, if anyone compares you at the NBA level to Christian Laettner, they're trying to be nice to you, and they don't want to tell you to your face that you're not a Hall of Famer. So they compare it to a guy who's a great college player.
One-time All-Star.
Period.
Yeah, Christian Laettner was a one-time All-Star. Literally. One-time All-Star.
Meanwhile, tomorrow, more of the fallout from Brian Daboll being fired by the Giants and that no-good turncoat Joe Shane keeping his job as GM. Will the Eagles fire or demote their offensive coordinator? I'm going to tell you that's a fact. That's happening this week by Wednesday. And everything that happens tonight will be all over tomorrow with lots of fun here on the Craig Carton Show. Thank you for watching. And we'll see if Bill Belichick's name gets mentioned in the next couple of days as well. Have a good day.